the settlement of the Czechoslovakian problem, which has now been achieved, is, in my view, only the prelude to a larger settlement in which all Europe may find peace. This morning, I had another talk with the German Chancellor, Herr Hitler. And here is the paper which bears his name upon it as well as mine. Some of you perhaps have already heard what it contains, but I would just like to read it to you. We, the German Führer and Chancellor, and the British Prime Minister have had a further meeting today and are agreed in recognizing that the question of Anglo-German relations is of the first importance for the two countries and for Europe. We regard the agreement signed last night and the Anglo-German naval agreement as symbolic of the desire of our two peoples never to go to war with one another again.
On this day, in 1938, the Munich Agreements were signed and delivered. This is what we're talking about today. So we all know about the Munich Agreement. We all know what happened afterwards. We all know the results, the terrible, terrible results that came 7 years later. However, at this time, the British Prime Minister, Neville Chamberlain, tried to achieve a peace in Europe. Now, this probably was impossible, and what we've seen throughout history is people like Hitler, and there have been a few, need to be crushed. Napoleon was another. But what could have been done differently? Neville Chamberlain, I believe, genuinely believed that he was dealing with someone that he could negotiate with. Neville Chamberlain had seen what World War I had done to his country and to the world, and he did not want to go through that again. Neville Chamberlain had been the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the guy in charge of the money during the Great Depression. And he had got Britain out of the Great Depression years before the United States came out of the Depression. Britain was actually making money again. They had gold reserves. They had just recovered from the First World War. And now there's another World War? Oh my God. He didn't want that. He didn't want to concentrate on foreign policy. He just wanted to make Britain better. And he was the most popular British Prime Minister in all of history at this point. People loved him. And when he went to Munich, they loved him even more. I've heard all the various different reasons that he shouldn't have made a deal with Hitler. Perhaps they could have gone to war in 1938. Maybe they should have. Because people say, well, Britain had an extra year to prepare. But so did Hitler. So maybe that would have been a better way to do it. But you're talking about enormous sums of money. You're going to impoverish the country again, which is what happened. Britain did not really recover until the 80s, really. It took decades to get over what happened in the Second World War. Now, I think we need to find how and why this actually happened. And this is a result of Wilsonian craziness, fundamentalism, talking about self-determination of peoples. in Europe, that is a very dangerous thing to do, especially Eastern Europe, what was the Austrian Empire and the Russian Empire and Ottoman Empire. You have groups of people mingling in the same village. You have different races and ethnicities and religions, and they will go at each other's throats, which they have done over the past century. And Hitler demanded the Sudetenland because of self-determination. He was appealing to Wilsonianism. I think Wilson made a big mistake. He opened up a Pandora's box, which led to World War II. If, as was the original policy during the First World War, we had supported the continuance of an Austrian empire, might have been a federation, possibly, that probably would have been a lot better, and it would have prevented a resurgent Germany from annexing a much more powerful state. But, as it was, the Czechs got their independence, but the Czechs didn't only become independent by themselves. They had 3 million Germans and a similar number of Slovaks, and another million Ruthenians, or modern-day Ukrainians. It was a mini Austrian Empire. And the same went for Yugoslavia, same went for Romania, same went for Poland. All of these countries were mini Austrias, which led directly to the barbarism that happened in the Second World War. And it's still kinda there in some places, in the Balkans and Eastern Europe. It was short-sighted, a big mistake. But this is what happens when silly policies, stupid policies, short-sighted policies, possibly well-meant policies go through, and these are the results. Munich, 1938. Okay, so that is today, 30th of September. Check back tomorrow for more.